I have a very sad video to make today. The Canadian nation has been hit with this Nukkake bomb. I'm going to read a letter that I got from Brent Spiner, dated December the 21st, 2011, 1:10 a.m. My dear wife, I am writing to you from the Canadian International Hospital where I sit in quarantine, zipped inside a dreadfully squeaky white hazmat suit. These suits actually look like the space suits we used on the set of Star Trek. So at the very least, I know I look cute in them. What I am writing you is a first-hand account of the horrible bombing that took place today. All of Canada has been bukkakeed. I cannot describe to you the smell. The sensations are so vivid in my mind, I have had trouble sleeping. Every time I close my eyes, the scene comes pouring back into my eyes, my ears, my nostrils, my mouth, like a horrific rape scene stuck on repeat. Minutes from hour zero, I sat in the hospital room next to Terrance Jenkins. My heart was pounding. My palms were sweating as I flattened them on the cold window, dilated pupils fixated on the brightening horizon in the distance. I prayed. I saw the Nukkake bomb as it came over the sky, silent, unglamorous, like an idle daydream whisking across the imagination and disappearing among the clouds. The room seemed to stand silent, still, swelling with the melody of I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas, playing over the hospital intercom, uninterrupted by the horror dawning outside with the cold glow of the winter sun. The bomb dropped. I opened my mouth to scream, but nothing came out. The powerful blast ejaculated through the streets so fast there was no time to react. Innocent civilians had drowned in the milky depths before they could even scream. Buildings burst. The entire hospital shook under the tremendous quakes of the earth as doctors and nurses flooded into the rooms to gather everyone down into the basement. They made sure to round up all of the celebrities first. The next thing I know, I was being dragged out of the room while Terrance Jenkins still lay on the hospital bed. Leave him, they said. He will never survive the trip without his left testicle, but I wouldn't allow it. Not this man, not my friend. I whirled out of the arms of the nurses and flung myself to his bedside. I politely asked permission to touch his body, to which he responded with a reluctant, drugged-out groan, then cupped his injured testicles in my own hands and hoisted his body out of the bed. I then began the arduous journey down 27 flights of stairs en route to the safety of the basement. Grasping the body of Terrance Jenkins, heaving and sweating, my legs pumped as hard and fast as they could. In no short time, the windows on the stairs exploded, and like an ocean tidal wave, the taste of salt violated my mouth and burned the back of my throat. We were being blasted with semen. I tried to run faster, but my timing couldn't have been more terrible. Just as I neared each landing, the windows at head level would burst, shouting blast after blast of semen directly into my face. I wanted to collapse, to lose my mind in the terrible nuclear bukkake storm. Had it not been for my desire to save poor Terrance Jenkins and my desire to again see your sweet face, I might have died right then and there, sobbing in a pool of sperm and AIDS. Those Jesuits, I would not give it to them. I was the last to arrive at the doors to the basement. I set Terrance Jenkins down on the floor while Vladimir and the doctors immediately bolted the heavy doors shut behind us. Mere seconds later came the shaking blast of ejaculate hitting the steel doors. We had made it. We were safe. I knelt to check on Terrance. To my horror, he was no longer breathing. I cried out in horror and protest and immediately began CPR. I put my mouth to his over and over, trying so desperately to infuse air into his heavily inseminated lungs, pausing to pump my palms against his manly chest. The doctors, nurses, and all the men circled the two of us. My eyes welled up with tears as I saw the doctor shake his head. Gerard Butler removed his hat silently, praying in Irish. I strained and I pumped, unwilling to give in. With one final thrust, I saw a gurgle of semen burst past his big lips. His eyes rolled open, and he began to grunt. He could barely speak, his words still spraying with remnants of inhaled semen as he tried to force them out. He asked where he was, and proudly I replied that other than being covered in semen of mostly unknown origins, he was safe. It was then I finally collapsed onto the floor beside him, exhausted, and slept. Hours later, we returned to the surface to inspect the aftermath of the attack. I almost gagged upon re-entering the hospital building. The odors permeated my nostrils, and I immediately brought my hand to my face to cover my mouth. The only way to describe it is like the cheapest mushroom Alfredo you have ever had, left to rot in the fridge for several months. Shuddering, I turned my eyes to the nearest window. My mouth fell open in a slow, seeping shock, as did the protection of my hand. The streets, which I would have presumed to be flowing with the milky remnants of Jesuit semen, had hardened over in the afternoon sun, freezing the entire city mid-wash in a noxious yellow crust. Rescue teams were sent to chisel through the wreckage looking for survivors. The rest of us were brought back to quarantine to be dealt with. According to Fox News, every Canadian woman has fallen pregnant. This has become a national crisis. I'm sure they are censoring this from the United States. Brianna, too. Brianna is Terrance Jenkins' baby that was rescued from the Vatican, and who has my genes and Terrance's genes. The Jesuits created her using our stolen eggs and semen. Brianna, too, has become pregnant, but she has chosen to have an abortion, so she should come out of this okay. All of the men are okay. Our doctors are able to obtain enough spermicide to sanitize our bodies. We had to stand naked in quarantine and be blasted with a spermicide hose to fully eradicate all of the sperm. I am feeling itchy, but at least I am well. Terrance Jenkins is making a recovery as well. He is doing better than I could have hoped, and miraculously he still has his right testicle, although it is hanging on by a thread, so he has to hold it. I am glad you are safe and far, far away from here. I wish I could be with you, your husband, Brent Spiner. I also had about a 45-minute conversation with Terrance Jenkins, and I will be transcribing that and making a YouTube video about that. That may be several videos long, but I can't let you listen to the voice of Terrance Jenkins, because that way the Jesuits can track Terrance and kill him. In fact, that's one reason they had such a good aim when they dropped the Nukkake bomb in Canada. But I will say that the men that were affected were Matthew McConaughey, Brent Spiner, Gerard Butler. I believe Hugh Jackman was there. I think Vladimir is no longer there. I'm not sure, but Terrance told me that all of Canada has been affected. They're able to blow the winds so that this bukkake fallout is confining itself to Canada, but the Jesuits want to drop a bukkake bomb on the United States, on the White House, and and Fox News is not able to broadcast this in the United States to let the world know what has happened. So I'm letting you know through this YouTube video. The senators and representatives in the United States need to get on this, and maybe you could contact Terrance Jenkins or Brent Spiner and Vladimir Putin and find a way to try to stop these Jesuits. Maybe you need to get a shield up, a shield over the United States and over all the countries in the world, because you can block this Nukkake bomb with a shield, but you need to get it up to protect your country. Canada is in ruins right now, and Canada needs our prayers. The whole Canadian nation is in devastation right now. Canada needs our prayers. But other countries out there, before the Jesuits send a bomb to your country, you need to get a shield up. Contact Vladimir Putin or somebody, but you need to there's a shield technology you can get up to block this Nukkake bomb. We weren't able to get it up in time in Canada. So I'm going to make this send this video out. This is an emergency.